What is up, everybody? I'm MTK, and today we had the trailer drop for Shadow of the Erdtree with the release date, as well as two juicy interviews with Miyazaki himself. Let's jump in. Like me. So in today's video, we are going to be covering the high points and highlights of the trailer itself, as well as some of the details that have come out after the two interviews that the man Hidetaka Miyazaki did with IGN and Eurogamer. Now, I won't be able to go over everything in those interviews, so I'm going to leave a link in the description to each of them so you can go see for yourself. So let's talk about the size of this expansion. Miyazaki said in the interviews that the size of the expansion is comparable to Limgrave in the base game. And you might be thinking that that might be somewhat small, but there are several sections to Limgrave, as you can see in this map right here, and it's actually a very large map for what is a DLC. So I think it's safe to say that it will be well worth the $40 price tag. As for the story, Miyazaki said that it centers around Miquella, as he has traveled to the land of shadows because of something that Queen Marika did. And he did not give any further details on that, but he also did say that the point of entry to the land of shadows will be the cocoon with the arm hanging out of it in the Mog boss area. Another interesting thing that was said is that the Sites of Grace may be being replaced by what seems to be possibly the footsteps of Miquella himself. That could not be, but when you listen to the interview, he seems to imply that that may be the case. He also confirmed that there are NPCs from the base game that also have traveled to the Land of Shadows with you and will be a part of the experience. Miyazaki also shed some light on different pieces of the trailer, such as the fire giant, which turns out to be a ancient weapon that was used in a past war fought within the Lands of Shadow, as well as those weird man-eating worms that he said have some sort of connection to the Lands of Shadow as far as their design and look. Something about the Lands of Shadow has influenced them or transformed them or something of that sort. We're not really sure, but I can't wait to find out. The last part of the trailer that he talked about was the main character of it, who he identified as Mesmer. And while he gave few details about this character, what we do know is that he is a demigod, and in fact, the artwork for the trailer itself, with him sitting on that throne, is meant to symbolize that he is equal with the other demigods who sat in the thrones under the Erdtree. Another thing that was covered was the difficulty of the DLC itself, and Miyazaki said that it is comparable to the end game of Elden Ring, but that the freedom to leave and come back, level up, those types of things, is still very much a part of Shadow of the Erdtree. He did hint, though, that there is more than likely a boss that is similar to Millennia, and that is both terrifying and awesome, although he did say that this boss would be optional, so don't let that scare you away. Some of the final key details that was covered is there are over 10 new bosses. There's plenty of new weapons, skills, and equipment, but perhaps the most interesting thing is there are 8 new weapon categories to make room for the new weapon types, which is amazing. I have no idea what they could be. I have some thoughts, I have some wants, desires. Let me know in the comments what weapons you would like to see in Shadow of the Erdtree. Some potential sad news is that Miyazaki said that there are no plans for further DLCs or sequels at the moment, but he didn't rule it out either. Now, this could easily be because they already have a full roadmap of games that they're planning on making, so it just isn't being discussed right now. However, that brings me to the final topic of today's video, and that is a potential Bloodborne remake. But before we get into that, please like and subscribe if you like this video. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss any further content. I'll be covering Shadow of the Erdtree and all things Souls and Souls-like. So in the interview with Eurogamer, Miyazaki was asked about a potential Bloodborne remake or sequel, and what he had to say was very interesting. While he did not confirm anything, what he did talk about was the fact that when new hardware is released, it oftentimes brings an opportunity to bring new life to older games. And I think it's interesting to note that Demon Souls got its remake 2 generations after its release, and the PlayStation 6 will mark the 2nd generation since the release of Bloodborne. But what is perhaps even more interesting than that is what he did not say. People in positions like his, oftentimes the things they don't say more than the things that they do. And he did not say that it was not being developed or that there was not a plan for it to be developed. Which, if it was the case that there is no plan to make one and it's definitely not in development right now, it would be pretty easy for him to just say that and dispel all rumors. But he didn't. So do with that what you will.
Do it now. Smash like.